Hey, students, I hope you're doing so well. We are going to talk about our next essay, and that is the profile essay. Now, a lot of you have finished up your eulogies. I hope you're feeling good about it, and congratulations on being done with your first college essay. That is not an easy feat, and you have done it. So that is wonderful. So let's talk about, first of all, the theme of this class. So the whole question that we're discovering is, who are you and who do you want to become? And we're really talking about identity and just seeking to figure out the type of person that we want to be at the end game. And we're doing that through writing. So the first essay that you wrote, I asked you to think inward. And I asked you to take a look at yourself and write about yourself. And the crazy part about what you just did is you didn't just write about the person that you are today, you wrote about the person that you want to become. So now we're going to take that focus and we're going to shift it onto someone else. And that leads us to the profile essay. So, what is a profile essay exactly? Well, a profile essay is a form of descriptive literary writing that centers on the description of a place, an event, or an individual person. As such, the essay should always be well composed, comprehensive, and have balanced information on a given subject. For the purposes of this class, you are going to focus your efforts on a person. For example, if asked to describe a notable past feminist, a civil rights activist, a philanthropist, an organization, or a medieval city, it boils down to writing a profile essay. Therefore, it's not just a superficial description. Preferably, it is designed to respond to questions that arise when trying to understand this subject. An example of a profile essay is a personal interview written by the interviewee. Mostly, profile essays are written by a major journalism student as part of their paper, coursework, or assignment. So, how in the world do you get started? Well, a comprehensive profile essay fetches great grades and should demonstrate in depth research, knowledge, and organizational skills. It is wise to use spatial order when writing a profile essay on places or things. And guys, when we talk about spatial order, really all that is to consider your organization. How are you going to organize this profile essay and based on what? Begin the essay with the person's appearance. If you're describing a notable individual, for example, detailing some of the degrees, the universities that they're attending, that can be a really good starting point. If you're writing about someone like your mom, talking about what she looks like in that moment that you're interviewing, or the setting of the kitchen that you're sitting in. Think about the person and think about how you should describe them. You want to instantly give the reader a picture of who you're talking about. Your introduction should still have a thesis and a focus that indicates why they are someone worthy of being profiled. Your body can be creatively constructive, but do not neglect cohesion or an order, a clear way that you're unpacking the why. And perhaps the most important concept, it's not enough to just share this person's life. Their life should indicate why they are a person worth following. So, guys, as you're trying to choose a person, okay, as you're trying to figure out the person that you want to profile, and remember, the person that you are profiling should be someone that you want to be like. And it doesn't have to be everything, right? It could be a particular character quality. It could be someone that's doing the job that you want to do one day. It could be your grandmother who deeply cared about other people. There's not a perfect person. And as people, we shouldn't want to be completely like someone, right? That takes away individualism. But you are searching for a reason that they are worth observing, worth profiling, worth wanting to be like. So let's talk about the outline. Let us look at how to structure a profile essay, and maybe this will help you when writing yours. So here is a breakdown. You, of course, need an introduction, and that should give a brief description of the subject. And remember, guys, when we think about description, you want the reader to be able to see, smell, touch, taste what you are experiencing. And the scope of the essay, and present the thesis. The introduction should begin with a leading sentence that describes the person. The following sentences may be a summary of informative points in the body paragraphs. It might look like the setting. It might share your relationship with the subject, but offer background information that's helpful for the reader to understand who this person is and why you're profiling them. The main body paragraphs determine the length of the essay. A short profile should have at least 3 body paragraphs. The entire body should include really clear examples. If you use external sources, make sure you cite them. It is only through that you can avoid plagiarism, okay? Guys, now when you are citing or quoting the person that you're writing about, you're using that from your own interview, right? So that's not necessary. However, if you're pulling something from another source, you should always cite that source. And then, of course, you have your conclusion. This is the climax of your profile essay, where you should restate the thesis, summarize what you shared, and bring closure to the essay. So how do you get started? It has been a long time coming, but let's face it. Typically, a profile essay must be comprehensive, attractive, and presentable. In this regard, you will need to set high standards for first impressions and lasting readership. Guys, what this means is that introduction is the place that you are really grabbing them, okay? Make sure that you're really putting on a well-written introduction so that they want to read more about this person's life. So then, what do you write in the introduction? Well, the introductory open sentence must grab the reader's attention. Profile essays need to include a well thought and crafted thesis. Tell the audience why they should stay tuned. Anecdotes, quotes could be an excellent way to begin an introductory sentence. To an allowed extreme, you can even include humor. If being funny is a really good way to engage your audience, then think about that. Think about how you could make them laugh. And then remember that every person you're profiling, guys, they are a person and they are unique. Therefore, show total respect to those individuals when writing an essay about that person. For this reason, it is preferred that you never use a condescending tone. No one will tell you this, but such a tone produces, but no such tone produces that essay on a person. Disrespect makes a profile lose taste. So then think about the consequences that could bring on. I don't think this will be an issue because the focus of this profile essay is to write about someone you admire, right? But if there's a part of their past or a part of their story that maybe is hard for you to write about, or you're pointing out something that's in them that's flawed, do that with great respect. And remember, the whole goal is to make sure the audience knows why you want to follow them. So that should limit any kind of condescending tone. So let's take a look at some interview ideas. Interviews provide context and insight into the people's experiences that readers can easily relate to. So in this tutorial, you'll be learning how to conduct an interview and write this kind of profile that shows your subject as your hero of the story. Guys, you cannot write a great profile without interviewing. And you may be saying, well, Mrs. Dupree, it's my mom. Like, I know her. I don't need to interview her. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. And here's why. You know that person. And so it can be really, really easy for you to think you know it all. Without an interview, you may be missing really great pieces of information that could be the essence of your paper. So why does an interview matter? When you can quote your subjects in their own words, you have the best kind of content. Quoting an expert's answers to the right set of questions helps us create expert level content without being the expert yourself. Quotes also provide testimonials, proof points, and supporting info that you could reuse later down the road, AKA your final essay. And you can link it back to that source, providing another link to strengthen the network that you've already created. This improves organic search results and it builds credibility around your topic. And remember, guys, these essays we're writing, you're building to that third essay. And so everything that you write can be utilized. So let's talk about preparing to conduct an interview. Demonstrate empathy. Make the person feel valued as an expert in their experience and their perspective. Demonstrate a genuine interest and curiosity. This is about them. It is not about you. Be empathetic. Interviews can get emotional, and that's good. It gives you really good content to write about. This is a tough one, guys. You have to listen. To capture the subject's impression and ideas in their own words, you have to keep quiet. Give them time. Relax in the silence. Elicit answers by asking open-ended questions. For example, you can say things like, "Tell me more about," or "How did you feel about?" Those are great follow-up questions to get further information that you can write about. And most importantly, look for the story. Ask about things that happened and what they did. Dive deeper. Seek examples, specific instances. Can you remember a time when? To build a story, seek before and after information. What challenges did they face? What problems? And later, when you're done interviewing, you can build the picture. Guys, this is why it's so important to think about the person you're interviewing before you interview them. Write down questions that will elicit a story. Think about what you admire about them and write questions around that admiration. That's how you get to the heart of a story. Consider what you already know. Be clear about the goals of the interview. Who is your audience? What information do you need them to know? What are the target pieces of content? What is your interview promoting? And guys, it should be promoting this idea, this picture, this answer to the question, why are they someone worth admiring? Do research about your subject beforehand, even if it's a relative, even if it's someone you know deeply, okay? Think about icebreakers. Think about ways to break those walls as you're getting ready to interview them. And then most importantly, whichever way you like to take notes, Google Doc, paper and notebook, make sure you have it handy. A recording device can always be beneficial. So now let's take a look at the handout and kind of walk through what I'm expecting. Okay. So this is, sorry, let me maximize this. So this is the handout for the profile essay. Now, remember, a profile essay is a literary work that focuses on a person and its goal is being informative. This essay should function as a work of journalism. Be factual and descriptive. Guys, that descriptive word is key while retaining traits of a literary work. Presenting your perspective on the subject and providing an interesting, immersing experience for the reader. Writing a profile essay is difficult work. In just a few pages, you have to establish character, environment, what makes them tick, and your opinion on the whole thing. But this work is fulfilling, and for many, it welcomes a chance to flex their writing muscles. Guys, for you, this should be an easy work to write because you've already done the hard work. You've thought about the person that you want to be in your eulogy. So now I just simply want you to grab someone from your life that has shown you one, two, or all of those qualities, and you're going to share their story. A well-written profile gives you insight about a person's history, lifestyle, and thoughts. It also gives a sense of the personality and intellect. Whether you only have 300 words or 3 full pages, you want to make sure that you have questions to ask when profiling someone to get the information you need. Before coming up with questions to ask in a profile, do your research. Look for their social media, look at them online, talk to other people who know them. The more information you have about the person you're profiling, the easier it is to come up with great questions. For this particular essay, I want you to profile someone you admire and want to mirror in your own life. This needs to be a person that you already know and you can see or Zoom with. This could be your mother, your pastor, a sister, a friend, a boss, a coworker. I want you to consider who you want to be like and why you want to be like that person. Then follow the steps below as we unpack the writing process along the way. Step 1, learn from the best. The first step of writing a successful profile essay is reading other profiles. Pick up a magazine that frequently publishes them, the New Yorker, the Esquire, and read through a few. Even though the ones you're reading are likely to be about celebrities, try and see what makes them interesting. Note how the subject of the essay is established early. And in a 10-paragraph essay, by the second paragraph, you already feel like you know the person you're talking about. We're going to be deep diving into models of our own in the discussion board. And we have one that's about our current president and one that's a student example for this particular assignment. Choose your subject carefully. It will be easier to write about the subject if they immediately have remarkable experiences. But essays where the subject is not immediately intriguing can also be interesting. It's all in the hands of the writer. Guys, some of you may write about your mom or your dad or your brother or sister or a deep friend. And y'all, they don't have to have some insane life. Oftentimes what we find is the remarkable is in the ordinary. It's all how you paint the picture. Prepare for your interview. Unless this is a special case, you'll need to interview the subject of your essay in person. Before you do this, you should prepare questions. Aim for the questions that are broad and open-ended, starting with who, what, where, when, and why. Yes or no questions should be kept to a minimum because there's a risk that your subject will be quiet and you'll burn through your questions while they're just nodding their head or giving you yes or no answers. Gather as much information about this person as possible. Do the homework now to make your interview easier. And then the hard part, writing the essay. This is where the bulk of the work lies. When you're writing your essay, it's important to keep in mind that the entire essay should be framed by your perspective. Strive to be fair, but understand since you can't transport the reader into the events, there is going to be a subjective view. In fact, a clear point of view on the person and the events will make for a better essay. Remember, you have to make a statement and present arguments to back it up, just like any other essay. Grandma Ruth is a sweet, kind old lady. She helps disabled neighbors go to church every week. That's just one example. But what this shows you is just like any other essay, when you make bold statements, you have to back them up. And most importantly, those should be backed up with words from your interview. Something you should avoid is writing out a transcript of your interview and thinking that that's an essay. This is often an inclination of students, but you need to construct a real narrative. Your essay should have a clear structure of a beginning, middle, and end, where the subject starts in one place and then goes through a journey to the next. Others might want to construct their essay topically, going from one subject to the next, which is a method most used in profile essays written for magazines. Some will use a combined approach, but your goal is to engage the reader, make them feel like they're there. To achieve this, use lots of small details, something we would notice if we were there. A good tip is to engage your 5 senses: sound, sight, touch, smell, and taste. And there you have it. Hopefully these small tips will end up being useful in your essay writing. And if all else fails, remember this: the reader's perspective is key. So when you're done writing it all up, take a step back and review it with fresh eyes. Do you feel like you understand the subject very well and why they are worth admiring? If not, revise. And then, guys, here are the basic requirements. This needs to be a minimum of 3 pages. It should be done in MLA format. First and second person point of view are acceptable. However, you should limit that second person point of view and make it mostly in first and third, so the focus is on you and the subject. Ensure the profile essay answers the question, why do you want to be like this person? That is the most essential topic in this entire profile. Engage a multitude of senses. Use your sensory language. The details matter. Use appropriate language for a profile or academic essay. There are many times that you may want to use direct quotes, which is encouraged for this particular essay. And then finally, consider grammar and mechanics. Guys, if you have any questions about this profile essay, please don't hesitate to reach out. I look forward to working with you on this, and I think it's going to be a fantastic essay.